Well, lads, it's been a really long day, but we're at the end of it, Jammer. Best of three lined up for you coming up in a few minutes. We have Sound As versus Owned, and we have the picks ready to run through. And I think I'm going to be nice, even though Jammer's ruined me today. I'm still going to be
Right.
nice. I'm going to let Jammer go through the map picks and bans with you. So fill us in, Jammer. Who's picked and who's banned what?
Okay, so this, of course, is a best of three. Own coming from the upper bracket, they get the advantage of the first ban. So, Own get rid of Vertigo, Soundaz minus Nuke. Own pick into Inferno, with Soundaz picking the CT side first. Soundaz pick Mirage with Own picking the CT side first, and then we've got minus Ancient, minus Dust 2, and end up with Overpass as the decider. So banging three
Hmm.
maps to kick off this best of three. And honestly, I don't often say this, but I actually do hope that we end up on the third map.
Yeah, I mean, like that's three perfect maps, and when you think about it logically, Sound Pick and Mirage, that's a safe, that's a bet. You know, what I mean, that's always going to happen. Own Pick and Inferno, I think it's a tasty pick for definite, but it leads into the Overpass final round. You know what I mean? Like it lays into that. But let's jump straight into the action. Inferno will start us off. Sound on CT. This is perfect. I'm on tenderhooks already, Jammer, and this is going to be a really good one. Inferno is one of those sort of maps where you can't not enjoy it. It's not like a Mirage where it's so played and like it's repeated constantly that you just seem to lose enjoyment out of it. Inferno is one of those ones that as much as you play, as much as you watch, I always find the enjoyment value in it regardless.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be an enjoyable round because Owen have wrapped around long, and that's caught the CT side completely off guard. Bomb being planted, and it's almost a reversal of the situations. 3 on 5, no kits purchased up at the start of the game, so this is all on the onus of these three CT side players to entry. And oh, the entries are good. Now a 1 versus 2, Raz J and Bowden, they win it. They just win out. Raz J with 3, Bowden with 1, and Godspeed Sus with 1 of his own. What a retake from that initial really low point.
Imagine getting caught off guard entirely and still winning the round. Like, and I mean, completely caught unawares that the wraparound was going to happen. You lose site control entirely. You get good post plant positioning, and then Raz J rocks up and he's like, "Tap you, my friend. Good night," and just clears through with the help of his teammates. That's a really good round. That is. It's a really good opener. And an XM 110 purchased.
Well, it
I
is.
we'll allow it. I mean, like this map is known for its shotgun kills, so we'll see what happens with it as it lays into our own imaginations. Full stack of Gleal's more or less on the other side, though, Jammer. I mean, we do have a scout and we do have a Mac 10 in play, but there's a good amount of utility with that Mac 10 in the hands of Aaron.
Yeah, weird situation now. I do believe the T side has a 5 power advantage with the 3 Galils, but
Hmm.
there's no real bits of utility to work with, just the smoke and flash and Aaron face back. So tough to get the engagements that they want. There's a 3 man stack over towards B, so it seems like the war of attrition will happen here. CT stack, and I think there's a boost coming through, so that will help things. That's an errant Molotov, so won't help the situation. But oh, Bowden can't get anything done, and now the CT side boost has been sussed out. XM10 ringing through the air, but doesn't quite connect for anything just yet. And these CT players are so low. Soundaz have been caught off guard again. Let's see if they can pull off another miraculous retake.
Oh, a Torkoal
Well,
firing a Glock like that never happening, my friend. Do we hope for a XM10 kill? No, we don't. uh, that was not case to the commentator because I said I didn't say he was going to get one. I said we hope for
right.
one.
Uh-huh.
Just standing up for myself before I get bullied by chatting you. Yeah, I mean, they got caught unawares essentially with that push through coming in. The boost didn't really work out. It didn't really go in, to be honest with you, Jammer. He jumped up on the top of the other player's head, and then it was almost like there was a bit of a rush of adrenaline. He started shooting through the smoke wall stood above rather than actually getting into the boost. I think if he was in the boost, he pushed up a little bit more. He'd have had clear sight through the top of smoke, and he might have been able to do damage with the XM10, but it wasn't going to happen in the position they were in. And unfortunately, that's not one of the reasons why that round is a loss, but it's part of a culmination of reasons.
Well, there's another reason working against Sound as in this one. As 2 players fall, 3 players in
Oh.
fact, that's gonna be a quick round to clean up and, yeah, it's just a not a hot start. I think you knew what I was gonna say coming into
Mhm.
this round, which was losing that, 2nd round after you win pistol is way more impactful than winning the pistol itself
Uh-oh.
because, as you can see,
Yeah.
it works so detrimentally against your favor that you don't have economy and you're stuck on what seems to be a double eco. So rough spot for Sound as. They could definitely come back into things, but Own, they've just shown why they're the favorites coming into this and made 2 strong rounds string together.
Anyone else deep down just wanted the Zeus kill there? Like, little guilty pleasure for me personally, you know? Yeah, I mean, again, another kind of well-worked round off the back of pistols. You know, it's gonna play into your own hands essentially. We roamed up into round 4, of course, and the Gleals are still on the cards for round. They don't need to upgrade as of yet. I mean, that's a good read when you think about it logically. They're always going to be on another eco round after. It's only going to be upgraded pistols they're going up against as well.
There is somewhat of a stack over towards the B site, so it's up to Own to suss that out. They are making pretty fast advancements, but you can see from the minimap the Colonel might get caught off guard. Oh no, the ships have passed in the night, Nick. It's happened. The Colonel's walked past the CT side player. TJ picks up the bomb in second middle, and now things get awkward.
And the
TJ
noise.
is not going to realize that there's a player right behind him. This might be a knife incoming. No, not to be, but
No.
even so, that's the A site rendered defenseless, and it's just up to Own to mosey their way over. But I don't think they're going to realize it's empty.
Wouldn't think so. I mean, like, yeah, you kill one defender that's pushed up deep into apartments. You know, there's still the potential for there to be one in pit. There's still a potential for there to be one towards archway. You know, especially if you're playing a 2-3 stack.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very difficult read to get from a T side perspective, and when you've only heard one player movement, you know, there's always that possibility that you've got another dude that's lurking around the corner. Aaron, however, pushing this deep into B site should sell all the information that they'll need. He'll pick up a second off the back of that push as well. He's actually going for a third with the pistol, but isn't able to. And he's caught between a rock and a hard place in the form of Godspeed Sus as well as Nitbag.
Yeah,
Go
I
for this,
think that
Jammer.
well, I wouldn't, but it's up to the
Yeah,
players. Just in the dead time, I'll talk about how the dropping of utility has really been instrumental in that round. You know, Aaron Faith
yeah,
has the SMG. They just dump all their utility onto him so that you can basically fake execute the whole of the B site, and that leaves A open for the taking. And
yeah.
these 3 Galil players don't even take a challenge to get to the site and plant.
No, there's nothing stopping it from happening. They can just push straight through, sweep in essentially, take control and hold that control for as long as they need to. Yeah, I think going for that probably wasn't the best idea. Both had armor. You know, yes, it's an upgraded pistol, but that Mac 10 can come in handy into the next round, especially if you've got a low value player. I mean, look at the economy, Jammer. They've spent every single penny they have into this round. Every
Yeah, you've
dollar we
got
know.
on the other side of things are starting to get healthy. There's at least a
Hmm.
buy and a half out of Own in their coffers, so rough straights already for Soundaz at the opening of this, but that's a really good start.
Madness,
Gates
yeah.
combining for, well, almost 100 HP between the 2 players. And yeah, I like it. It's just about whether they can capitalize off the back of it now on the side of Soundaz.
I know I mentioned it. I'm going to go back on what I said earlier. I love this map, and I really do. I enjoy playing it. I enjoy watching it more so than maybe Mirage. Um, but the B site control or B site hold from CTs, there's not really a lot of room for like new adjustments and new flair. I mean, there's not a lot of space that you can really use. The single peak points that you instantly shoot at as soon as you peek into sight, they're all the same for the site control. There's not really a lot of options, and as much as Nitbag is going to be a thorn in the side for the team if they don't check up top, does leave a little bit to hope more than anything, doesn't it? In fairness, unless you've got any little nuggets of wisdom that you can throw our way, Jammer.
I mean, there's a couple of different approaches to it, but honestly, I think this bait and switch kind of game plan that Own have gone for is really working well. You can see the
Hmm.
instant rotations from Soundaz, and the alert comes through perfectly. It's going to be a site that's falling with both site defenders taken out very early. Raz answers back with
Oh,
2, and that makes things doable. That's a nice recovery. Oh, Okay. Well,
That was super
I
close.
thought he
That's
connected that.
like that's millimeter. That's literally like particles of difference in that shot there. His cross is right on the side of the player and just slightly out of sync, I think, with that initial shot into. But yeah, I mean, this retake should come into fruition for the CTs. Soundar is making good efforts to get themselves in towards site. It's all on the kernel. Can he provide us with a boneless banquet of a T win? Who knows? You'll get the initial pick, and there's no time in this. There's no kit either. Both players will be happy to keep the weapons they have, and Owen will be happy to put another one on the board.
I know time was low, and that was a rough spot to be in, but
Hmm.
Nitbag had literally a full belt of utility there
Yep.
that could have been used to just win that round entirely. You know, a smoke over towards short, molly towards Zaps, or the reverse would have helped in bag loads because that would have forced that hand of the last player in apps. And I don't know, it's one of those spots where you'll look back at the demo and be like, oh, why am I such a silly goose for not doing that kind of play? But it's those kind of high pressure situations will come back to haunt you. This is not a good start for Soundaz. Being spammed down. Raz J playing with fire, lurking around in apps. He could go down at any moment.
Hmm.
Well,
Mm.
escapes unscathed, but it's really trying to answer back for that initial frag that's already been lost. Look at the rotations though. I think
Yeah.
I think
This is
Aaron
the
can
thing of
hear
it,
this
isn't it?
scope, and it's gonna direct all these players over towards the opposite side. Even if there's a stack here, it's just Deagles that you can up against, and with a good exec, it shouldn't really matter. There you go. Bowden can't do much out of that round. Killing Nitbag through the smoke is a bonus, and that's it. The round's done. Still can't believe that shot didn't hit from York.
No, same. I'm still a little bit over it as well, to be honest with you. It's one of those moments where you're like, "Ah, I wish we had replays for that. That would have been insane." Oh, Aaron. uh, This is what I like about Aaron as a player, right? From the games we've watched of him, he's always that lurk. He's always that little bit of an anchor. He's always trying to be either super aggressive up on site or he's playing the back lines and he's trying to catch players off guard. He's trying new things essentially every single round. He's
Yeah.
unlucky, obviously, in that fight up against Raz J, who's just ready to get the initial, get the pick onto him. But it's good info then for the rest of his teammates. And that's why we see them kind of circle up and go for him. 5-1 is the scoreline against, again, owned. Um, they're still undefeated, of course.
Seems like they're going to continue to progress that way, the way things are standing.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Well, 5-1. You've got to scratch your head as the sound as IGL and think, what can I do against this? Because the players are just fragging out of their minds. They're playing confidently, and it's just a really tough task to come up against. That's a really good answer to that question, TJ. Perfect Molotov takes two players out. I'm not too sure why or how that's happened. Sound
Mm,
as, please don't throw this situation.
make the
Okay,
most of
there we
it.
go.
Okay, they
That's
don't. Yeah,
an
Aaron's.
unnecessary
Yeah,
engagement, but Godspeed to us escapes with it.
Jabba. It's unnecessary, but if he comes out on top, it's completely fine. It's okay. Like
Ah, yes. If I
we
just
we
one
forgive.
tap everyone in the head, it's completely fine. I'll just win, right?
That's how it works now. That is what the
Right,
game is
right.
about. Oh, I thought that's what we were told earlier on. Like,
Ah,
just shoot people. That's the game.
okay. Well, Sound as are looking to put a second round on the board. Oh, you can tell we've been broadcasting for a long day when we start to get this
Yeah.
delirious.
I apologize. The reason why I haven't been talking that much is because I'm hitting numbers for to go to the players, obviously, as an observer. And for whatever reason, every time I hit a number, the player dies. Like then, like I'll hit the number, and as I hit the number, they die, and it just puts me on a death cam. And I'm like, right, okay, well, I can't get off the death cam for a couple of seconds, and I have to reset. So, apologies, everyone. I'm now just gonna chill.
This is a
we're
good
gonna see what
question, actually.
happens. Go for it. Yeah.
From well, from chat, but from one of the staff. Who would you kind of tout as being the MVP coming into this game?
Oreo. The
I hate
man
you
fought
so much.
the man fought
Such a
well.
shit
Do you know what I mean? To
poster, I
bring it
swear.
back. But yeah, I mean, I think going forward into this, we have to take into consideration how well TJ's played the entirety of the day, right? We have to take into
Yeah,
consideration how aggressive and how well played Borden has played as well. We need to take into consideration how it's Cole's played, Colonel's played, Aaron Faith's played. Like they've all played exceptionally well throughout the entirety of the day in
yeah,
all of the games we've watched them play in. So it's a really difficult question coming into this matchup as to who's going to be the better one out of all of them because they're all just as good as each other. The situation that we have in regards to right now is like it's who plays the better over a space of three maps. So I think after map one, we'll have a good idea of who our MVPs are going to be. I think it's too early to call right now, but like for me, if Odon can kind of shape things up quite nicely, he's edging my bets as far as Sound as is concerned. And I think it's a toss up between Cole and Aaron Faith on owned at the moment, depending on how we kind of progress throughout the rest of the maps, of course. I don't know about you though. I mean, we'll see what happens with this push first, and maybe jump back into this in the dead space.
yeah. Well, Dead Space is where Own are residing right now as they try and push their way over towards B. 24 seconds left. This T side, sorry, CT side hold is locking things down, and as the time progresses lower, it seems like they're not getting much success. But that's an error, unforced at it. But TJ can recover. 4K locking down the B site for him. 3-5 is the scoreline.
Not a bad setup so far. I mean, we're into round nine, of course. Sound as recovering bits and pieces as they go along, and I think this is the kind of map for it for this sort of gameplay where it's in for the long run. I was going to say double up setup, just single up setup. Actually, my brain's not working there for Sound as once again. RazJ potentially going to get a pick there onto mid. He's got one player to contend with, that being Toko. But the aggression is pushing through, and it's actually forced him off position, Jammer,
This
to
double
re
up setup though is going to be
yeah.
completely catching Own off guard. It's just a matter of how instrumental they can work together, and the back and forth is working so well. It's cut down this site taken. Now there's only one person left, but Nitbag gets both of the two
Mate,
remaining T side players.
that double app setup,
That's
like
yeah.
that was really nice. It's instrumental in a way. Okay, so I mentioned this earlier on. We're in for a spicy one because Owen have gone undefeated throughout the entire run of this tournament. Sound as have been playing extremely well against teams they've gone up against so far. They've had a few kind of rough patches here and there, but they've been playing well regardless. If we're seeing tactics like that getting pulled out of the bag this early on in map one, Lord help us as we move into Mirage, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the point moving forward, If Sound As can get a hot start, then this is going to be a game that we have on our hands, an absolute banger, you might call it. But
Yeah,
it's Cole is going to be the person that's left alive to stand in the way of Sound As leveling up the scoreboard, and the timing is not going to match him. There is a 5-5 scoreline now on the cards, and this CT side economy is booming.
yeah. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we progress throughout the entirety of this first half. And I think if you're in a position like Soundhouse are, where they were on the back foot initially, and they're now kind of springing forward off the springboard to kind of get themselves into you know better territory as we head into the end of first half. Get always right around.
Yeah,
This is the kind of CT side that you want to see on an Inferno, where there's a little bit of flair, there's a little bit of a little bit of anguish and a little bit of anger, and it kind of all plays out quite nicely on screen for us. Bodon, there you go. That's the activation that we wanted to see from earlier on. He'll pick up Colonel, but he's also going to re-peek into that smoke once again, do a little bit of damage on the spray through into Cole, but it's not enough to really write home about at the moment.
I've got to say that entire play made me just sit there and cringe because Bowden is the only thing that's standing there between Own getting a sixth round and them holding the B site, and he locks it down. Fair play to him, but 9 times out of 10, making that kind of play there isn't going to work out.
Got to take your chances, Jammer.
Yeah.
If you
Sometimes you
don't
just
take
gotta
them,
gotta make the play,
yeah.
right?
What's the age old saying? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
God damn it. Using my own quotes against me.
um, yeah, I think it's that utility usage that kind of comes into it. I know we keep going back and forward over utility, and we'll always will really because it's one of those big bone of contentions for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
You know, Bowden's won that fight because of the utility usage. You know, they don't want to peek through smoke. They have no idea how much is coming hit their way. You know, they have no idea how many people are standing by ready to kind of like receive on the other end of it. So, you know, for him, swinging out, peaking, getting that initial tap, getting the smoke down as well. Also, that buys him a little bit more time to bounce back and get that re-peak into the smoke, get that additional spray through into it, make himself a bigger target essentially, and stop the onslaught that potentially could have been owned coming through the back lines.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the own team that we saw earlier today, the one that was, super confident, just like taking fights that perhaps they shouldn't and coming out on top, would have gone for that. But the way that Sound has actually like put up some form of a resistance, has made own respect them, and that's kind of where the faltering has come through. You know, I talk about confidence a lot, and the fact that Sound has kind of not allowed own to disrespect them is really telling as to the scoreline at the top of the scoreboard.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. Yeah, you're not wrong. You are not wrong, Jammer. Got a pause in play, of course. This isn't a timeout for tactics. This is a tech timeout. So give us a second. We should hopefully be back up and running in a moment. I hope a player's mouse hasn't died again.
You
Definitely want to
know
get
what?
caught
As
up with
luck
that
would
one.
have it, there are many players' mice dying. I don't know what you guys are feeding your mice, but it needs to be proper whole grain food and fruit.
Can you feed fruit? Yeah, you can feed fruit to mice. You spun me down for a second. I was like, can you actually feed fruit to mice? Speaking of feeding fruit to things, weirdly enough, I went upstairs earlier on to go get a drink or whatever,
Right,
and back door was open. I was like, why is the back door open? It's freezing here. What's going on? Uh, Looked at the back garden. My my mum is at the back garden cutting an apple into little chunks, and she puts it on the sunbed. We have a really fortunate our garden faces out towards the sea down the coastline,
right.
and we also have like really good sun throughout the day. And I was like, why is she putting apples on the sunbed for? There's a squirrel that's come through the back garden once or twice. So she's putting an apple out for the squirrel because she wants to see if the squirrel will come back to eat the apple. And all
Yeah.
I'm envisioning is about 4 days' time where I got to go out there and clean up manky apple off a sunbed because
Ah,
the squirrel hasn't come back. Like, do you know what I mean? Why? What
see,
are you doing?
the youth in me is like just imagining some Disney scene with your mom feeding like apples to squirrels and birds and deer and stuff.
Do you know what I
And
mean?
then
Like a
there's you,
Snow
and it's like,
White.
oh, 4 days time, I'll have to clean that up.
That's literally it. That is literally
Well,
how it works out. Oh, speaking of cleaning things up, Godspeed and Raz started to clean things up inside
oh,
of apps, but Cole is there with a big old mop and he's sweeping his way back through. He'll pick up two for himself, and Raz J is able to reset essentially and get himself into a better position to pick up that initial frag. But TJ is going to seal the deal, take us to round 12, 13, even, not 12.
I might be wrong in this assumption, but is this
Mm-hmm.
the first time that we've seen Own?
Owned on the back foot.
Yeah,
I believe so.
yeah, it is.
I'd be
It's the
hard
first
pressed to
time.
be told it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time that we've seen Own not be in the lead. So, can Sound As be Own's kryptonite? Continue watching to wait and find out and see. But
Yeah.
there's a P90 on the board, and I hate this game now. I've lost all
I
respect.
uh, I mean P90 push into B side. I'm not going to argue with them for it. It can be very very
Look,
effective, but
it can be the best gun in the world for it, but it's a P90, and I'll never respect
yeah,
anyone that
okay,
uses a
fair
P90.
enough. I get you. I got you. I got you. Like an auto sniper, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, I can respect an auto sniper or a Negev, but P90, that's just below the belt. Oh, even the
I'm
inspect.
I'm kind of. It's like they got to be watching me because I'm using the P90. I'll just inspect just in case they are. So that way, then we can definitely seal the deal on the old P90 hate train. I don't know. It's it's not a gun that I pick up, and it's not a gun I use. I prefer picking up like the MP9 that's got more cost effectiveness to it, if that makes
Right.
sense. Like, but I can see the benefits of having it on a map like this, right?
This is not a good play and it's all fallen
No,
apart.
it's not.
Own just sit there patiently and Sound As walk into their own demise. Now looking at a perspective, 7-6 scoreline because Sound As, yeah, they're saving, running for the hills because they
Yeah,
cannot
get away
afford
from sight.
to
Yeah.
be forfeiting grounds like that. They have money, so they could have gone for it, but with no map control, the odds are just stacked away against them.
Mm. I kind of like this like hanging back play though from Godspeed. He's waiting for anyone that will use CT spawn
I
as a
mean,
saving position. It's not going to happen, but like potential's there, right?
yeah, I would have totally been behind Sound as going for some exit frags, just making sure that
Yeah,
that T-side economy can't start swelling up. But there's only a couple of rounds left, and so if they can take a couple of guns out of the hands of Owen,
yeah.
that will be like reinvestment and keep that economy healthy. But you know
Uh,
what? Doesn't matter.
It'll keep him
It's
honest as well. Like
yeah,
that's the thing of it. It'll keep him honest for definite. But yeah, going for exits situation like that, especially when you got so much of a swell in your bank balance, you can't really blame him for going for it. But you can also see the benefits in not, you don't want to feed into the economy as well from owned for getting the additional picks that, aren't
yeah.
necessarily there for them to grab. There's arguments to and for, I think, all, every day of the week you could argue to, and every day of the week you could argue against. But regardless, it didn't happen anyway. So let's move on before we get into that conversation. um, Slight boost there with the AWP, but no avail, unfortunately. The grenade kind of sealed the deal as far as stopping that play from happening. Right now, things are kind of edging towards banana, but a slow and methodical edging towards banana from owned. Cole is on super low HP after eating, I think not one but two grenades. Jammer.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we can commend Sound as for is eliminating the Aaron Faith like side of the equation, at least for the
Yeah,
first half of this engagement. You talked about him being potentially MVP, kind of caliber, and I would agree with you from what we saw on Overpass. But yeah, being able to stop like some of the key players from own from fragging out is going to be key to Soundar's success. But this is, yeah, I was going to say that's a real questionable play from Nitbag, swinging out, and that's completely forfeited this A site. There you
oh
go. Own have got a seventh round off the back of literally just two mistakes.
yeah, yeah. Literally two mistakes. Swinging out like that, not really the best of ideas. Um, It's quick draw. It seems to be very quick draw from Owen. When they want to make a decision, they want to push into sight, they do it and they execute straight away.
Yeah,
There's no hesitation in the background of it. It's
conviction.
like, yeah, exactly. It's those 30-second push. Do you know what I mean? Clock's and hit 30. We're all going to come out and decide. We're going to use pot flash to get in if need be. We're going to smoke off, our danger holes. We're going to make sure that we get in a good position to take it and hold it. And they do have the conviction to do that as well. It's a good round from Owen. Very good round as it takes us into the final one of the first half, Jammer.
Indeed. Well, both
Again,
teams have
best of three, of course.
yeah, of course it's a best of three. We've got Mirage up next, so
Yeah.
three very kind of like execute heavy matchups in terms of maps. But that's maps that are very reliant on aiming as well. That you can't really win any of these maps unless you're fragging out. And it seems as though right now both of these teams have a couple of star fraggers, and then the rest of the teammates are lagging behind a little bit.
Hmm.
This is an interesting play from Raz.
Yeah.
He's rewarded for it, but that B site setup, I've got to call it under question. Like
Yeah.
this is really questionable play.
This is exactly why I switched the camera over to there because I was like, well, I mean, this B site hold is the B site hold is dangerous at the best of times anyway. Because if you lose banana control, you've pretty much like lost all advanced knowledge of what's coming in your direction, right? Other than based on utility. But at the same time, if you're going to play that deep into banana, and I say that deep into top of banana, you need to have you need to have a lot of things backing you up there to really hold it down that well. I don't know. I mean, it came off for the better for them. We're 8-7 now into the second half, and again, this is now the second time that we've seen owned in this map. go on the back foot, and the first time throughout the entire tournament. So who will who will come off the victor? It's for the players to decide, really. And I think if Owned have got anything to recover from, a CT side, a good CT side, could do it for them. Good pistol first, though. Jammer is important as always.
Yeah. It's often quoted as one of the most instrumental or key rounds of Counter Strike. That pistol round affects a lot of how you start off each side, or each half, I should say. And yeah, the knock-on effects of pistol can reverberate right through to the halfway in the half that you're playing. So it affects a quarter of the game on
Hmm.
either side. Yeah, we'll wait to see how these teams want to approach it. Kit purchased up in the back pocket of the Colonel. The rest of the CT side has armor and a nade with that kit. On the other side of things, just a smoke flash P250 combo with the rest of Sound as purchasing up armor. So I'll hope to see where that little bit of utility is used in a very passive T side indeed.
Yeah, I
From
mean this is quiet in comparison to what we normally expect from tees. But then again, this could be an execute that that they've been practicing or preparing for, right? Like
I,
this could be this hold off, like let's let them use any utility they've got already, and then we'll push in. Could be,
yeah, I see the logic behind it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a B execute. That's where we find ourselves. CT smoke coming through. Crossing before it, so that's a little bit awkward as they're chipped down by the USPs. 3 players on the B site. Godspeed will get the first, and that's bomb
Oh,
dropped in an unfortunate spot. Crossfire here now towards Coffins, and the rotations have come through. Sound as need to get a handle on things, but it's so tough when the CT players are just swinging out and dinking you up. 2 versus 3 now, on the verge of being a 2v2, but this is a rough spot. There you go. Bomb is recovered. Fred's trying to take a fight. 2 players to find, and he gets nothing. Colonel, the top fragger with the kit, now trying to recover things. Both players run back to CT. He has a kit. If he sticks this and catches a timing, he might be able to run away with it. But oh, he's got it.
no, he's
He
done
stuck
it.
it.
Oh my days,
I can't believe it.
that's cheeky. Well, they say pros don't fake, right? Like
The confidence to just pull off a play like that is insane.
I'm flabbergasted by that. I mean, that's ballsy. That's gutsy and
Well,
ballsy.
that yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're in a gun round for all intents and purposes in the second round of this half. Full Galils on sound as own with an M4A1S, FAMAS, MP9, and a Scout. Man, this is a critical round to win for both these squads. Anyone that wins this round could run away with things. Right now, it seems like Sound as are making progress towards A, but they have to wait for the chess match of utility to dance, take top middle. I think we're both still stunned from that previous play,
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, I'm just like, I mean, it takes it takes a very strong player to kind of stick in a scenario like that where you have two players that potentially could swing PQ at any moment, and I can't fault him for doing it because they worked out, but at the same time, that's gutsy play, and that's kind of what we anticipated moving into this best of three, right? Like this is what we were kind of expecting these teams to really do.
Oh,
We were expecting Aaron to take a three-piece like that as well, with
what?
an MP9 just spraying at anything and everything that popped up in front of him.
The stars align for Aaron. He gets 3 out of it and keeps his team in the fight. 2 versus 2 now as the nade chips the 2 site T players down. Flash over is good. There's no kit on any of these players though, so they need to get a move on, get a spot, and get a handle on the first. They don't realize that Raz J is playing the long con. He's faking them out, trying to catch a timing, and oh, he might have just done it. He might have won this round off the back of that play, but he
Oh,
whiffs.
what?
And that's so unfortunate. The Colonel gonna win things again. I
Wow.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that spray is not. He won't be happy with that. I mean, like don't think any player would be really happy with watching the spray control like that happen. The thing of it is, as well, is that he connected with everything that he shot. He just pulled away a little bit too soon. It's just It's
Ah,
unbelievable.
that's two very stunning back-to-back moments in 2 rounds to start off this half, and if that's gonna tell you anything about how this best of 3 is gonna go, I think it's a very exciting
You
matchup.
got Toko
Toko,
there as well.
yeah, opener onto TJ down middle, and Nick, what do you even say to the Sound As players if you're their coach at IGL? Like, what can you even do?
It's like it's hard to recover back from making silly mistakes, right? Like you make one silly mistake in one round, and all of a sudden it's you're in Nico territory. Do you know what I mean? Where like people look at it and they focus it as being the only thing that happens. It's quite easy for them to bounce back from it. They just need to.
Uh,
Oh, okay. There's more mistakes that are happening, Drama.
Indeed.
Lots more,
So many more
lots more
mistakes.
mistakes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean Toko dies there as well. Like that shouldn't happen.
well, I mean, this is potentially one of the most stunning
Yeah,
games of Counter Strike that we've ever casted together in our
easily.
tenure. But there is this game defies logic for all. Like, yeah, just what?
Let's break down the last couple of rounds. I think that's probably the best place to start,
Okay,
right?
well,
You have Colonel in a 1v2 on pistol who sticks and holds on a defuse with two players left up alive that could potentially peek out on him and just has like the cojones to just stick it and just doesn't do anything else. Perfect. Like that's just an unbelievable play, right? You roll into the next one and it's another unbelievable play. And then you roll into this one and you're like, okay, how are three players with full armor and also weapons and utility dying in situations like that against pistols?
can I just highlight the fact that Raz J is like stealthily snuck into a 20-6
Yes.
score,
That's
like KD. What?
yeah. That was the next thing that was going to be coming out of my mouth as well. Is like, how are we in this position? Well, we're in this position because of good play. We're in this position because you've got players like Raz J on 20-6, as you mentioned a moment ago, but you've also got players then, that are essentially just like pulling rounds out of thin air. There are a few weak points, of course, and that's the same on both teams. But I just think that the Sound As team, when I'm going to quote the song, but when the going gets tough, they get going. Like, do you know what I mean? They really kind of put out a good performance. Um, and again, I reiterate what I said earlier on to Jammer. If this is map one and we're going to be going on to Inferno next, we
Mirage.
potentially could go all the Inferno. We're already on Mirage. If we go on to Mirage next, this still could potentially go to map three, but I kind of want it to because I want to see more from both these teams in that respect. It's just the swing peaks that get instantly tapped as soon as you swing into sight. I don't
This
know.
round,
I mean, this is just another good round from Sound As, right?
yeah, but this round also has knock-on effects going forward. This was a force for intents and purposes,
Yeah,
and they're going to commit behind it. They have nothing
nothing in
left in the
this.
coffers of own. So losing all their players like this, they should have just saved as soon as they lost the B site. But now they're going to be stuck on a double eco, and that's like getting close to the territory where Sound As can just run away with things. And this is
Yeah,
Own's map pick.
don't have the utility. You don't have the economy that you would have on T side. Like you don't have the abilities that you do to build up cash. You've got to be very, very careful and concise on CT side as to when you're going to be putting those plays in place. A big round like that, you can understand why that there's a big buy, right? Like you've just come off the back of what was essentially a round in your pocket, lost it to Sound As, yeah, buying big into it. It kind of makes sense in a way, but you're right. Also, as soon as B side control is lost, you back off and you let that ride. You don't have the economy to be buying armor again or utility again. TJ again is just he's like a that. That's just cheeky.
That's
Oh,
bomb though.
Colonel. That's bomb control. Yeah, still player
If
left there
Colonel pulls
to
out another miraculous
nah,
clutch round, I'm going to lose my mind.
nah, maybe, maybe, but nah,
Not to be.
not to be. My heart couldn't take it, to be completely honest with you, Trevor, if he did, because yeah, I don't think my heart could take it. Not gonna lie. We just sat there
Okay.
going like, please don't do this again.
Can we just
Yeah,
look
go on,
at
yeah.
the situation that we're in right now because of that
Yeah, I
Deco
mean,
Deco by.
Mhm.
Like, they have M4's armors and, like,
But
a
it's a soft
smattering
buy
of
though, isn't
utility.
it?
That knock-on effect is being
Yeah.
seen, 3 rounds later, and I think Sound As are in perfect stead, perfect pole position to just run
Mhm.
away with it. That's something
It's,
I did not expect to say at the start of this day.
no, I mean, it's yes, there's M4s on the field. Yes, there's armor on the field, but the utility lacking amount of the low amount of utility that's available to own. That's why it's a weak buy for me. You're going up against Sound As who have not been afraid to use a lot of utility to push into sites and not been afraid to really kind of sell a push with utility. And yeah, like it if you don't have the utility to back your own defenses up, then you're going to fall into this awful position where you're getting pushed with flashes, you're getting pushed with smokes, and you've got nothing to really combat against it. I mean, look at Cole here now in dark or like edging towards dark. Yes, it's a good position for him to be in, but he gets smoked out of that position or even mollied out of that position. Where does he go from there? He has nothing to really help himself get out of it other than a flashbang, which, I mean, yeah, a couple of seconds it buys you, but it's not going to give you enough time to move like a smoke would.
Yeah, the execute comes through on the 30-second mark, and well, Cole and Fred's need to have some multi-kill performances. Fred's only with one, and Cole drops for nothing. So this is a 3v3 situation that Own should be giving up right now. But look at them; they're still committing to this. They're moving into position, and I mean they can do it. But if they don't win right here, right now, then I don't know. Like, it might be done and dusted. You might just be looking straight over to Mirage already.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen how Mirage can go when you get a team like Soundaz on it who are just feeling like they're on form. But this is going the opposite direction entirely now, Jammer. We've got Soundaz on the back foot. Raz will have to fall back to retain that AWP. He doesn't want to lose it to Own. You know, he definitely does not want to give that AWP over. They'll be happy with upgrading to AKs, but yeah, I mean, there's money in the coffers anyway for Soundhouse to rebuy in, right? Like that's not a huge concern. It's just,
Yeah.
hmm, I don't know how to break down that retake. You go for it.
So it's really just a matter of Own like trying to find the right timings to push together. After they take that initial contact, it's gonna cause some adjustments from Soundaz, and they just play it really, really well. To be fair to them, but obviously, it was a situation where the odds are stacked a bit against them, and they just make a play when it needs to be made. 10-11 now is the scoreline, moving into round 22, and this game is as close as you can make it.
Yeah, it's map one as well. Like I keep going back to that, but like it's as close as you can make it, but it's also still map one, and we still have the potential for there to be two maps to come back. It's just this is a really, really good final. Two well matched teams for it as well. I mean, like you can't argue with that. 11-10 being the scoreline, been back and forward for. I mean, we started at what, say 10 past 4. It's 40 minutes of just non-stop CS, and it's back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. There's wins and losses on either side, and those wins and losses kind of translate into how the players are feeling and playing into 2-3 rounds after. It's great CS.
It is great CS. Sound as trying to make advances up top middle. Oh, that's interesting play. They leave it wide open. Don't realize Toko's there. Raz is there for the trade, but now a 1 versus 3 situation. Raz, though, makes it a 1 versus 2. He gains full site control. The rotation comes through late as Own didn't have full information about the situation. Now Raz is almost playing against himself and the time, and oh, it doesn't
Oh,
quite connect. 11-11 is the
this
scoreline as
is nuts.
Own just kind of win around off the fact that Soundaz progressed through and made a mistake on long.
This is just, yeah. Again, like I said, it's back and forward. It's most enjoyable from a commentator's perspective, if I can get my words out without choking on my own breath for some reason. Yeah, it's just most enjoyable to watch, and there's like I said, there's little wins and little losses here, there, and everywhere on the map, but both these teams have been playing exceptionally well against each other, and they're again well matched and well versed in each other's kind of play styles. Aaron there gets the initial pick, fades away, get themselves back into pit. Doesn't need to take any more than that out of that fight. He's just happy to get the one, bounce back, allow them to kind of fall into him. But we can see from minimap, of course, and that shot ringing out towards B side, that the bomb is heading that way. Now it's not, however, it's going to rotate back down banana because I've said it's going to go that way, so they're not going to go. And we end up going for a mid push potentially to get themselves up in towards A.
Of course, it would
You can
work like
see
that.
the indecision as well, can't you? With
Yeah.
Colonel just bounce it, go like, right, am I going to be A? Where am I needed? Where's most important for me to be at?
Oh, nice entry
Oh,
from Raz.
nice.
That opens up the A site a little bit more. 45 seconds left as this exit gets pushed through, and well, it really is on the Colonel and Aaron to lock things down. One in pit, one on long. Colonel gets the opener traded, but
Oh,
Aaron has two of
oh,
his own, and that's to build up into that triple. Raz doesn't quite connect onto him. Now stuck in another 1 versus 3, and it seems like Owen are bouncing back into things. You can't take them
oh.
out of the server, even if they're missing their nades, and Raz has a tall task as the top player from this Sound as squad.
He knows pit's not right for him. He knows pit's deadly. Can't really go too far into sight without clearing it. Doesn't have any utility to do so, but he's got a bit of room to maneuver as far as inlay into sight's concerned. 4 seconds left on the clock. He's going to be looking to hide behind that box, keep the open to the next one. Aaron, I mean, the CTs can't afford to lose any weapons, right? Like, look at the economy that they're in at the moment as well. Also, they're going to have to buy and drop for the rest of the teammates. Everyone's happy just to let things lie as is. Yes, he saves an open to the next round. Yes, they're going to be on a full eco more or less, unless they. Well, I mean, I would say full eco. They've now kind of semi bought up around the open with the deagles that are in play. But everyone's happy. Just let things calm down for a couple of seconds. This could be a map that goes to OT, by the way, because of the way that both these teams are playing and how they're kind of reacting to each other. Jammer.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with that sentiment. This could absolutely go into OT. I think the key point about this kind of round is trying to get some damage done. Maybe even a bomb plant. If you get a bomb plant here, you can bind to the next round. Um, but yeah, it's really just about how these players can progress forward. 4 versus 5 in favor of the CT side as own. Start to stack over towards B. And they have a lot of top middle control into the middle stages of this round, which is triggering that stack. And you can see that they're playing pretty hands off actually. If Raz J gets close and quick smoke CT, there's a
I
world in
mean,
which they just take Freds out of the server and that's it. The round's said and done. But there you go. The execute comes through. Molly is late, and that's exactly what I'm talking about with Freds. He's able to stay alive though, and that's the problem. That's what you wanted to avoid.
hmm,
Raz J not quite realizing there's a player right in front of him. Perhaps distracted, and that's a 13th round for Own. So Own have come back into the lead.
I think we might have gone to him just as that flashbang had gone off.
Oh, right.
So we couldn't see the flash that was on there. And he couldn't see anything in front of him, more or less. So that would probably explain why we didn't see him pick up a shot there towards Coffins. But happens, the best of us. And this is like lifelines again getting thrown into Owen's direction, by Sound as. Yes, that was a pistol round for them, and the push didn't really materialize or happen off the back of it. But it's a little bit, given a little bit more not spaces in the sense of being able to get different positions in map, but space in the time that's left for them in this map.
Well, Sound as heavy apps presence, bombs even residing there. Aaron Faith, though, he's going for some aggressions. Could have
Ooh.
been tagged up, dancing around the bullets. Oh, this is so tense. Oh, the aggression. This timing is critical. Doesn't spot anything.
Oh,
Realizes there's a player behind him, and a nice adjustment from him. So he's able to fall back and reposition. 5 versus 4 to Owen's advantage. And Aaron coming into the game, it's really speaking volumes about how Owen have also come
hmm
into the game.
yeah, yeah, exactly that. It's the way that he does the damage, fades away, and he's just like, okay, they're gonna have to come to me, but I need support as well, and that's why you see players sat down in pit. Toko being the man that's in pit there helping out. He'll chime off and get one extra. There's another one again picked up elsewhere that'll be underboard, and then the Colonel finishes things off. Sorry, the Colonel was actually in the pit. Must have been Toko coming from library.
Yep.
Yep, there we go. I mean, it's the way that he's playing at the moment in the sense of just it's almost like he's setting the trap up, but it's a long-term trap. He's like, right, I'm here, tap tap tap, I'll get one pick and I'll fade away and I'll just suck them into this trap. they've got no choice but to push me because they know that I'm here. They want to get the trade, and if it takes a couple of seconds, it takes a couple of seconds. Owned, however, they're just holding sight, and
Oh,
Toko gets the double again. It's the second that we've seen from him getting the collat. Yes, pistol round, but that's enough to kind of seal the deal and push him into this match point scenario, Jammer.
the one adjustment I would have made to that play that would have probably made it work is 2 window flashes. If you have 2
Yeah,
flashes there, all 3 of those players are blind. The pistols can close down the distance, and that's it. That's a round on the cards. But a little bit of a blunder leads to this 15-11 scoreline. The Colonel was pushing down middle. We've not seen this. Could be punished, but there you go.
is
Actually,
punished.
3 versus 3. Only
Oh, he
one player
uses
left
that
towards top
smoke,
middle. Oh,
bro.
Aaron dancing around the
That's
smokes
dirty.
perfectly. What a timing.
Yeah, that's so dirty. The smoke deploy is brilliant from him, right? Like it covers
Yeah.
that mid gap, and then all of a sudden there's another T smoke here. You're genuinely like a TT player. You're going to back off to where he is now. You're going to pull back, get into a decent position at pit, maybe get the crossfire set up. Aaron, though, nah, I'm just going to push through that smoke, and I'm going to take full advantage of the fact that they know that that side's covered, so there's nothing going to be there. There's a lot of noise movement going on as it is, so my cues aren't going to be given away to anyone. It's a very talented play, in fairness.
Yeah. Hotly contested map could end right here. Owen set themselves up perfectly. Aaron coming back into the match just spoke about volumes of their setups and how well they're progressing forward. That's the jig being given up. Aaron can swing out. Oh, nice nade on the fadeaway. Now just
Yeah,
Godspeed Dust, and that's
brilliant.
it. 16-11. Aaron Faves to close things out. Now we move on to Mirage after a 5-minute break.
Yeah, indeed. Quick 5 minute break. We'll be back with you shortly. Just to give you a 23-19 for Aaron, by the way, as that ended, Jammer.
Nice.
Should probably highlight that moment. But yes, we'll be back after a quick 5 minute break. We shouldn't be too long, and we'll be with you for map 2. See you in a minute.